The winter of 2024 was supposed to be routine renovation for the old Hoffman Pediatric Clinic in Milwaukee. But when contractors pulled down the famous memory wall containing 40 years of patient photos, they found something behind it that would connect 12 cold cases nobody knew were related. Dr. Bernard Hoffman had died taking his secret to the grave. His nurse Martha hadn't. February 8, 2024, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. The demolition crew arrived at 7 a.m. to gut the Hoffman Pediatric Clinic, closed since Dr. Hoffman's death 14 months earlier. The building had been sold to developers planning luxury condos. Tom Brzezinski's crew had done hundreds of medical office teardowns, but this one felt different. The waiting room walls were covered floor to ceiling with Polaroid photos, thousands of them, children from the 1970s through 2020s, all smiling, holding lollipops, showing off their brave patient stickers. Local news had done a segment on saving the photos before demolition. Some families came to claim their pictures. Most didn't. By February, the crew had permission to take it all down. Tom started in the corner, peeling photos away in sheets. That's when he noticed the wall behind wasn't drywall. It was wood paneling, and there was a seam. He pried it open. Behind the public display was a second collection, 12 photos arranged in a grid, each in a small frame. These weren't Polaroids. They were professional portraits, the kind schools took annually. Each had a label underneath, initials, date, and one word, selected. The crew supervisor called the police. Detective Ray Novotny arrived expecting nothing. Probably photos of favorite patients, maybe kids who died from illness, something sentimental but innocent. Then he saw the dates. They spanned from 1985 to 2005. He recognized one face immediately. Ashley Kowalski, age 7, missing since 1998. Her case had consumed Milwaukee for months. Last seen walking home from school, never found. But according to this label, she'd been selected 3 weeks before disappearing. Novotny called for backup and a full forensic team. They cataloged each photo. 12 children, ages 6 to 11. All had been patients of Dr. Bernard Hoffman. All had disappeared without trace between 1985 and 2005. None of the cases had ever been connected because they happened years apart, different neighborhoods, different circumstances. But here they were, grouped together behind a wall of innocent memories, marked as chosen for something. Dr. Bernard Hoffman had been Milwaukee's most beloved pediatrician. 43 years of practice, thousands of patients, numerous humanitarian awards. Parents drove from 3 counties away to see him. He never married, no children of his own, made his patients his life. His waiting room was legendary, toys from every decade, the photo wall growing until it became a tourist attraction. When he died at 84 from a stroke, the memorial service filled the cathedral. The mayor spoke. Nobody suspected anything. But here's what changed everything about the case. In Hoffman's private office, locked in a filing cabinet marked personal, investigators found detailed medical records for all 12 children. Not just standard files, extensive notes on blood types, genetic markers, family medical histories going back 3 generations. Each file had a red tab with codes: RH null, Duffy negative, Diego positive, rare blood phenotypes. The kind pharmaceutical companies paid millions to study. The kind that could save lives or advance medical research. The kind worth taking children for. Martha Kellner had been Hoffman's nurse for 31 years. 78 years old, living at Sunset Manor, assisted living in Brookfield. When detectives arrived, she was doing a crossword puzzle in the sunroom, glasses perched on her nose, looking like everyone's grandmother. She didn't seem surprised to see them. "I wondered when you'd come," she said, setting down her pencil. "Bernie's dead now, so I suppose it doesn't matter." The interview room at Sunset Manor smelled like potpourri and coffee. Martha sat straight-backed, hands folded, speaking like she was reciting a grocery list. Dr. Hoffman was brilliant but naive. He truly believed he was helping. The children went to better lives, he said. Families who could afford the best education, the best opportunities. He never asked where they actually went. That was my job. She paused, sipped her coffee. "I selected them. Bernie just provided the medical data." According to Martha, the system was simple. Hoffman would identify children with rare genetic markers during routine checkups. Martha would flag their files. Then she'd make a phone call to a number she'd memorized, never written down. Within weeks, that child would disappear. Always on their way to or from school. Always clean, no witnesses, no trace. The families would search, grieve, eventually move on. The children would start new lives with new names, their special blood valuable to someone, somewhere. "Who took them?" Novotny asked. Martha shrugged. "I never met them, just a voice on the phone. Male, no accent, very professional. The money would appear in cash in a safety deposit box, $50,000 per child. Bernie never knew about the money. He thought it was purely humanitarian, advancing medical science. I let him believe that. The safety deposit box was at First National Bank of Milwaukee, registered under Martha's maiden name, Wojcik. It contained $600,000 in cash and a single photograph, Martha young, maybe 30, holding a baby. On the back, Timothy, 1976 to 1977. Her son, Novotny realized. The medical examiner confirmed Timothy Wojcik had died from a rare blood disorder at 11 months, the same disorder that could have been treated with transfusions from someone with Rh null blood, the kind of blood Ashley Kowalski had. Martha's voice stayed flat. I couldn't save my son. But maybe these children saved others. Maybe their blood, their genetics, helped cure diseases. Or maybe they just became someone else's children. I don't know. I didn't want to know. The FBI took over the case within 48 hours. The phone number Martha had called traced to a disconnected line that had been routed through 17 different carriers across 9 countries. Untraceable. The money trail ended at the safety deposit box, but they had something else. Hoffman's meticulous medical records, each missing child's rare genetic markers were documented. Using modern databases, they started searching. March 15, 2024. The first match came from Portland, Oregon. A woman named Rebecca Stone, 33, had submitted her DNA to a genealogy site. The system flagged her as a potential match to Ashley Kowalski's parents. Same rare blood type, same genetic markers, right age. When agents showed up at her door with a photograph of 7-year-old Ashley, Rebecca's face went white. "That's me," she whispered, "but my parents said I was adopted from Romania." Rebecca's adoptive parents, David and Marie Stone, were arrested the next day. They broke immediately. Yes, they'd paid $500,000 for a daughter in 1998. No, they didn't know she was kidnapped. They'd been told she was an orphan from Eastern Europe with special medical needs. They'd never questioned it, because Rebecca had been perfect, smart, healthy, everything they'd dreamed of. The paperwork had seemed legitimate. The adoption agency had closed years ago. They thought they'd saved a child, not stolen one. Within 6 months, 4 more children were found, living in Seattle, Miami, Boston, San Diego, all raised by wealthy families who'd been told they were international adoptions, all with those same rare blood types, all living successful lives, a lawyer, a doctor, a teacher, an artist. None had any memory of their lives before age 7 or 8. The trauma of separation, combined with young age and possibly sedation, had erased their early childhoods. But 7 children remained missing. No DNA matches, no paper trails, no adoption records. They'd vanished completely. Martha claimed ignorance. 12 children, 12 calls, that's all I know. But investigators suspected she knew more. Her assisted living facility roommate reported that Martha talked in her sleep, always the same phrase. The farm takes the special ones. The farm. Investigators searched property records for any connection to Hoffman, Martha, or the missing children. Nothing. But then a retired FBI agent named Carl Peterson called with a tip. In the 1990s, he'd investigated a compound in rural Nebraska called Haven Farm, suspected of trafficking children for medical experiments. They'd never found enough evidence for arrests. The farm had closed in 2006. The owner, a man named James Whitmore, had disappeared. Peterson had always suspected connections to Milwaukee missing children cases, but could never prove it. Haven Farm sat abandoned 40 miles outside Omaha. When FBI agents arrived with ground-penetrating radar, they found disturbed earth in 7 locations. The excavation took 3 weeks. 7 small bodies buried deep, each showing evidence of multiple bone marrow extractions, blood draws, tissue samples. They'd been used for medical harvesting until their bodies gave out. The youngest was 6, the oldest 11. All 7 matched the missing Milwaukee children through dental records and DNA. James Whitmore was found living under an assumed name in Mexico City, working as a medical equipment supplier. Extradited, he faced 7 counts of murder, 12 counts of kidnapping. At trial, he showed no remorse. Those children saved hundreds of lives. Their blood, their marrow, their tissues went to research facilities worldwide. They were heroes. The prosecutor asked if he'd told them they were heroes while he was draining them. Whitmore didn't answer. Dr. Bernard Hoffman's legacy crumbled overnight. The hospital wing named after him was renamed. His memorial plaque was removed. The thousands of photos from his waiting room were returned to families when possible, destroyed when not. But 12 portraits remained in evidence, 12 children selected for their biology, sorted like specimens, some saved into new lives, others consumed by medical vampires. Martha Kellner was convicted of 12 counts of conspiracy to commit kidnapping. At 78, she got life without parole. At sentencing, she spoke only once. "I did what I had to do. My son died because he was ordinary. These children lived or died because they were special. That's the only difference between medicine and murder. Who gets selected?" The 4 survivors who were found faced an impossible choice: return to biological families they didn't remember or stay with the only parents they'd known, the ones who'd bought them. Ashley Kowalski, now Rebecca Stone, chose to maintain contact with both families. "I'm 2 people now," she said, "the girl who was taken and the woman who was raised. I can't be just one." The Portland courthouse where the Stone family was tried became a meeting ground for all the families. Birth parents who'd spent decades grieving met adoptive parents who'd spent decades loving. Children caught between 2 histories, 2 identities, 2 sets of victims. There were no winners, only different levels of loss. In Hoffman's personal effects, investigators found one more thing. A journal started in 1985, the year the selections began. The first entry: "Martha's son died today. She asked if special blood could have saved him. I said yes. She asked if we could find children with that blood. I said yes. She asked if we should. I couldn't answer, but I think we will." The last entry, dated a week before his stroke: "Saved 12 families from poverty, gave 12 families children, advanced medical research immeasurably. But I dream of them sometimes, the selected ones. They're standing behind my wall of photos, watching me through all those smiling faces, waiting for something. Maybe waiting for this confession." Martha says, "I think too much. Martha's always been right." The Hoffman Pediatric Clinic building was demolished in September 2024. The luxury condos were never built. The land was too tainted, the story too dark. It's a parking lot now. But maintenance workers say something strange happens there. People leave photographs tucked under windshield wipers, school portraits of children, ages 6 to 11, all smiling. Nobody knows who leaves them or why. They appear overnight pristine, like they've been preserved for decades. The Milwaukee Police Department keeps a box of these photos in evidence storage. There are hundreds now. All different children, all the same age range, all with something familiar in their faces. That look of being selected, chosen, special. The kind of special that can save you or damn you, depending on who's doing the choosing. The box is labeled Hoffman Effect, Ongoing, because somewhere out there, investigators believe someone else is selecting, someone else is collecting, someone else has a wall of photos with secrets hidden behind it.